the game was different, right? The rules was different. The ball was different.
The Euro style is different in America.
The Euro style was a lot different than America.
That's the first time y'all seen that Euro step too, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, welcome to another episode of the EuroStepping. We have a very near and dear young man to me, Mr. Ayo Nuwe. Ayo, please just introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from, school, graduation year, and yeah.
In terms of what, like Nigeria or Manchester and
everything, man. Give us the lowdown.
Well, I'm Nigerian at heart, and yeah, so from Manchester. I actually started out at Manchester Magics when I was 13. So I started kind of late and stuff like that, and then just really took it from there, to be honest. First year, not so good, but it's okay. Started getting a little bit better, you know, Northwest teams, national teams, championship winning teams and stuff like that. So it's been a bit, and then obviously ended up at Myerscough with you for, well, a year. Very upsetting. We'll move on anyway. But yeah, I was there for 2 years, graduated, I think it was 2017. Yeah, and then ended up in the States. So first school was Casper College in Wyoming. And then I ended up moving to a school in California for the second year. And then that's when I decided, I won't say call it quits, but you know, I was all right with it. And then came back here, and now I'm about to finish my degree, to be fair.
Nice, okay. So it's interesting you say 13 was kind of late. I think that's kind of a time where, I guess mid, like, yeah, I think stateside it's late. I think UK wise, everyone jumps in about 12, 13.
Yeah, it's around the 13.
Yeah, the majority. So yeah, so it wasn't too far behind. When you started out, you know, thinking back to a 13-year-old, 13, 14, 15, what was your basketball dreams? What was your aspirations for basketball?
Honestly, when I first started out, didn't really have any, which you could tell, because then I wasn't really improving at the rate as everybody else, because I already felt like I was behind. But then, because I already have a competitive nature from playing football when I was younger, doing athletics, losing just wasn't my thing. So I think after about a year, I kind of just got fed up per se. So within like a couple months, I was like, what the hell is this? And so started working out with Dante.
Okay.
Because I was about to quit, actually. I was like, what the hell is this? And he was like, bro, if you just do a couple things, like, we'll be good. And so I worked out with him extra. And that's someone I would love forever. People always ask me why, and I was like, that's someone that's, you know, very important to me. So you may not know why, but you have your reasons, I have mine. Like, that's someone I'll always stick with for no matter what. So that's probably why I'm here, because I stayed playing the sport because of him. Like, he worked out with me, he did the extra time, he put that work in with me when coaches didn't really see a point in bothering with me. And then only after that did coaches start to see, like, Pete was the first person I was like, he knows us.
Pete Myerscough?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My favorite coach of all time as well. I mean, you're right there. But yeah, like, he saw me working out with Dante. He seen, like, okay, this kid's starting to work, and he started to take me on as well and just started teaching me all sorts of stuff. And it really helped me make the Northwest team literally within my first year of basketball, when I didn't think I could even play for the club level. Ended up winning a title that year with under 14s. Contributed a little bit, not as much as I wanted, but you know, steady progress really. But
yeah.
Then it actually started making me fall in love with the sport, because I seen how hard it was and how much you needed to put in, and like every day's a challenge. You miss a couple of days and regression.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as playing football or sprinting, because like you walk and just do that. You can't just walk and play basketball unless you're blessed by many gods.
Many.
Like, the sport is just like, it's a lot, like, and that's why I liked that part of it when I just started getting good. kind of want more and more. And then you started to see like what everybody else is like. Because I thought, oh yeah, I was getting better. And then I go to the Final Fours in my first year. I'm like, oh my Lord.
And this is still with Manchester, right?
Yeah, like, I'm starting to see players like, I think it was Nottingham, I was seeing like Luke Mitchell and stuff like that. Like this guy was just solid. And I'm thinking, like, what the hell? I didn't think, oh yeah, the teams are that good, but like they are good. Like guys try hard. They have little things that they do that just adds up. And then I think Luke Mitchell was one of the first players I seen that I was like, I thought basketball players are like tall, and you know, I always had that, how do you say this? Stereotype for it.
Yeah.
I learned better because I had Rico on my team.
Okay, yeah, I remember Rico.
Probably that guy. I don't even know how to describe it. Like just the way he plays, ridiculous, just ridiculous. Like guys like that were not as tall as everybody else, but they had a presence. You kind of start to see what really actually mattered compared to when you just start out. So yeah.
That's funny. Who was my guy? I feel so terrible now. Might have to edit this bit, but Kyle Ellie, there you go.
Oh, hell yeah.
Kyle Ellie was my guy. I remember when I literally just moved up to Preston, in with Neil, and he was doing the Northwest U17s, and Kyle Ellie just had like the stone cold, don't talk to me, don't bother me face, like killer, like, you know what I mean? He looked like one of them guys that had like 4 jobs, a wife, 7 kids, and he looked like he had a rough life. And when you saw him play, it was just like, yeah, he was real intense.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Hybrid.
Yeah, I love Kyle, man. Anytime I saw him play or knew he was playing, I had to try and watch him. And he didn't care if he was 7 feet, 5 feet, no feet, too many feet. Yeah, he went after your neck. So yeah, there was something special with you guys down there. Okay, so how and why did you choose Casper?
So my recruitment process wasn't as cute as everybody else's, to be fair. I'll be honest.
Wasn't cute, no?
Wasn't cute. Like I had like, yeah, it wasn't cute. Like that's okay to say.
Okay, go on, I'm listening.
So like I had NAIAs, and then Casper was like I think it was the first junior college. Yeah, it was the first junior college, and like the place was just beautiful. Honestly, like when you look at the campus, when you look at the facilities they had, like it was a very good place, and I was like, all right, this is really good. And then we're speaking to the coach. I forgot his name. It might come to me.
Okay.
But yeah, like first spoke to the assistant coach. I think it was Hurley. Forgot the other rest. And then
so
I spoke to
it wasn't Dan Russell?
Yes, there you go. Yes, Dan Russell. All right, cool. Yeah, that literally skipped my mind. But yeah, so spoke to the assistant coach first for like maybe a few days. He was showing me the place, and then kind of telling me what the place is about and stuff like that. And then spoke to the head coach, and he was obviously had other kinds of questions, so more like about what I was like as a person, like what my life was going on with my life and stuff like that. So he wanted to get to me, on that level. And so I was like, all right, cool. Like, I spoke to these guys. I felt comfortable enough where I was like, if I go out here, I can do what I'm doing. And I felt like, all right, comfortable in that. So then he asked me, would I be willing to, commit to the school? And I said, from what I've seen, like, and what I've spoken to you guys about, like, yeah, I can see myself doing that, but I'd say 75%. And so maybe like a couple of days after that, I ended up saying yes. And then I was still 75% about my decision. But then that's when he asked me about Zion. Okay. So I said, Zion's heavily recruited, so I don't know what I can do for you lot, but I'll speak to him. Because then that would have taken my decision from 75% to 100.
Okay.
Because like me and Zion, like, to this day, like we're close. So for me, that was like, yeah, I'll do that. So I spoke to him about it, and obviously he had D1s, D2s, and so his decision was a bit different to mine. Like he's got to think about it. I'm like, I gotta take this opportunity. So yeah, like we spoke about it, thought about it for a while, and then obviously he had the knee injury at the time. So he was thinking, all right, you know what, let me try to get myself back into proper gameplay and shape, and then he would go on to the D1. So then he ended up committing to Casper with me, and I've never been so happy. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Like I'm going out there with my bro. Like it's not everyone gets to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of times be on your own. Like our flights together, our rooms literally around the corner from each other. Like everything we did together, like that was literally how our first year. It was like just moving from Myerscough to a different place for us two. It's like, oh yeah, I still see you. Like, so it was a very good, comfortable thing, because the start of my time at Casper was pretty rough, to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah, because so I had an ankle injury, which almost turned into like Achilles situation. So I was literally on one leg for the whole year. Yeah. So I was meant to have like a surgery actually, but I turned it down. So they was meant to actually even put an injection in my ankle as well. I turned that down. I had a situation with my kidney at the start of the year.
Wow.
Yeah, like it set me back like a couple of weeks, and when you start that far back in there, it's hard to like catch up. So I was always on the back foot throughout. And so like start that time, play time was hard to come by, but I practiced hard as much as I could, as well as I could. Obviously with the like one leg basically, but
the gangster leaning in practice, yeah.
Man, I was in so much pain every day, but I was just trying to keep it to myself.
So you were still playing on the ankle, the ankle injury?
Yeah. Like I had to use braces, fam. I'd never really used braces.
Okay.
But I think they're ugly and they're chunky and like they don't make my shoes feel good. I hate them. Like they're ridiculous, man. But had to soldier through the year with it, and like even though if you ask them, the coaches now, like they're like, yeah, like he just kept it going throughout the year. Like that's it. That was the first year for me. So I wasn't healthy, but I loved my teammates. Like every single one of them, if I see them right now, I'd have a half an hour to an hour conversation with them straight up. And I thought, you know, these are guys worth playing with and for. Even if I felt like, okay, I may have lost favor with the coaches, obviously, because I'm injured, so I'm not 100%, so they can't exactly put their all into me. And at the time, I took it personal, so I wasn't really a big fan of the head coach and the assistant coach at the time, because I was like, you can see how hard I'm doing stuff and whatnot, but now in hindsight, like, I get it. Like, it makes sense. So at the time, I wasn't with the coaches, but I didn't give up because my teammates. Like, they knew, like, oh yeah, like this guy's in pain, but he's still going on, like he does his thing. And personally, I've gone along with him. Like that was one of my favorite teams to be part of. Like honestly. And so yeah, like I met like a lot of important people that I still speak to this day. But yeah, like I soldiered through, and then coming towards the end of the year, I started feeling a little bit more like better, like healthier because of all the rehab and stuff I was doing, but it took a while. And I could kind of tell that in a way that it was giving me game time actually.
Okay.
So that's when I started to have quite a couple good, consistent games towards the end of the year before we had to go to the tournament and stuff like that. So the first year was tough there, but it was needed because then it helped me out with the next decision I made where I was like, okay, I want to go.
And what school did you go to? You said that was in California. What school was that? Yeah,
Pasadena City College.
Okay.
So basically, so one of the teammates that I was with on Casper, his uncle actually coached the team. He was an assistant coach on the team. And so he sent him my tape and stuff like that. And he was like, oh yeah, like I like this kid. I want to bring him over and stuff like that. And so I've had the experience where coaches haven't been what they seen the first time I spoke to them. So I was skeptical already about this one. Okay. But yeah, he's Coach Idris. So he's actually a wonderful guy. Still speak to him to this day. Like, we'll call and we'll talk and stuff. But he actually called me. So he got my details and then he called me, which I was like, oh, right, fair enough. And then I'll be on FaceTime with this guy for like a while. and he would just tell me about himself, and like he was a Christian and everything like that, and what his philosophies were, like how he wanted to live his life and what he thought he wanted to do, like what he's meant for and stuff like that. And he felt like he was just completely different, and I just felt at ease because this time I was going this place by myself. So it's different to Casper. I ain't got my my little safety net in Zion. If I wanted to do that, like I got to figure this stuff out by myself. So the time I spent there was actually what made me decide that I don't need basketball anymore. It wasn't like I wasn't enjoying myself or playing, but like he got me a job out there. So out in an insurance company.
Okay.
And that opened my eyes to like a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Just the world of business, and I loved it.
Okay, all right. Well, before you go any further, okay, let's finish up this little bit. I like it.
Yeah.
For both places, for Casper and Pasadena, what type of scholarships did you get?
So for Casper, that was full for the full like 2 years.
Okay.
Then I was gave that up to go Pasadena, and that was like a part one, so it wasn't actually full.
Okay.
So some stuff I did have to like cover, but because of this guy, like he helped me out, man. Like,
he helped you out? Okay.
Yeah,
did your grades play a factor in you getting full scholarship? So for Pasadena Pasadena was a partial, and Casper was a full. But you know, did they look at your grades and then they were like, okay, yeah, we can mess with you because you've got.
Yeah, my grades are good. Like I'll be honest with you, I don't try that hard when it comes to education. I don't really have an interest like that. I don't. Yeah, but to a point where like I say like I'm like a B student, and that's why I like to keep it. I don't want to do like the A's because that don't really help me out with anything if I'm being honest with you. So yeah.
Okay, so you just keep it a B just because.
Because if let's be honest now, basketball is a lot. You gotta work out a lot. You gotta plan your time really well. So let's be honest, like education isn't really the first thing on your mind, but you have to be at a certain level for them to actually be allowed to let you play.
Yes.
So I'm like, all right, not let me make it good enough, but like just less than great, just a bit less than great, and then I'll feel comfortable. They'll feel comfortable. Like they don't have to worry about me having to drop a class or anything like that. So yeah, I never had that issue.
Okay, I like it. Cool.
You gotta get at least like a 2.5. So it's like a C like that. So I don't know how you can't do that.
What questions did you ask when you was being recruited, or should you have, reflecting back on it now, what do you think you should have asked the coaches? I mean, what do you think, if you had the answers to, would have made the most difference?
So probably the first one for Casper would have been the area, stuff like that. What's the area like?
Okay.
Because I went there having no clue. Like because it's high, breathing is tough.
You mean the altitudes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like around Denver, so it's quite hilly.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, same.
You gotta go.
I'm in New Mexico, which is more or less the same as Denver, and Casper's a little bit lower, but yeah.
Oh, that shit hit me like a ton of bricks. I had my first run. Oh my God, I said, I can't beat this out of shape. I was like, it was woo. They used to get everybody as well. Like we had this thing where sometimes if you was almost late for practice, you had no other option but to run up this hill to get to practice.
Okay.
Right next to our accommodation. And it's right there, but people don't like taking it because it's steep and you will be like out of breath. But if you were anything more than like, you feel like, oh, I might miss this by like a minute or two, you had to run up that hill to make it. And happened a couple of times. And, didn't start practice off on a good foot because I just lost quite a lot of oxygen. So there's one of those, like, that was something I probably should have asked about. So I would have been a bit more prepared for it. Okay. Another one would be, I say community. So not a lot of black people in Casper.
Okay. Hey, say it is what it is, man.
Like not a lot of black people in Casper, and I think like kind of seeing your own type of people is quite important in terms of how you move forward, which is why when the players got along well.
Okay.
But then everything else was just like, it's not the same.
Okay.
You know what I mean? From when you go out or whatnot, like, yeah, you might get some mixed range people, but anyway. Yeah. Coaching stuff.
Hilarious.
I mean, at the time, it wasn't, to me at the time, I didn't see how important it was. I actually didn't. But now I'm like, when I ended up going to Pasadena, that was all black coaching stuff. And they can understand things that just the people at Casper just couldn't. So it's different. So like, that's when I noticed it. Like, it's very important. And it's for, when you're getting a kid at like 18, 19, they've still got a lot of progressing to do. And that's a lot of that's going to be mental. And someone's being similar to them, understanding the background because they've had a similar background and they've dealt with a similar type of people, it's way more better for the development than if you was to have, unless there is culture, then like, no, just the all white stuff ain't gonna help you like that. Like, and it's just true. If you have some like obviously black stuff and like, you'll be all right, but like I learned that like my development took a different hit when I went to Pasadena compared to when I was at Casper. I appreciate that. So I can tell. So I feel like stuff like that is very important, especially for young ones, because when they see similar people get out of situations that they felt like they couldn't get out of, then it just makes something different click.
That's pretty big. That's a point that I don't think many, as you said, young men, young women, whoever, don't realize that having a diverse crowd or a diverse population, diverse coaching staff, you know, having somebody that represents you, that looks like you and kind of communicating to you is a big deal. You know what I mean? It's a really big deal for you to feel like you're understood. And I think that's what the long and short of it is that, you know, going somewhere that you can communicate to your coach and he listens to you and understands what you're coming from, or vice versa, of him talking to you and understanding where he may have, you know, that might be your pathway. Do you know what I mean? As a young black male, you know, I hope to be a black professional someday. Hey, maybe I should listen to this guy's advice.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a very, 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 very huge point there, and I like the fact that you brought it up. Appreciate that.
Yeah, like, to be honest though, it's like, it's not exactly the be all end all, because a lot of black players still do well even when they have like all white coaching stuff, but it varies, because say if you start struggling with stuff and then mentally like you're not gonna be all there, but then who are you gonna talk to really about that stuff, because who really understand that? It's dependent. But as time has gone on from when I was playing to now, like the world's changed, and now you got to put a little bit more focus, because they see what black people deal with, and so having somewhere like having safety net mentally where you can speak to someone that's like you, well, it's important now than it was. It's way more important now than it was before. Like for me, I wouldn't have cared about this stuff like in 2017. Like, oh, my coaching staff's white. Let's get on with life. Let's go. But then, as you learn more, then things start to click. So then you start realizing, okay, in hindsight, this was like pretty important. Like, I'll never say like, oh, all white coaching staff bad, whatever. Like, they are still good people. Like, I'll be honest, they are still good people. It's just that they won't always see where you're coming from 100%, maybe 90%, because they've come from different backgrounds. That's fair enough. And it's also, that's why diversity is important, because you start to understand different things about people. Like, you might get a spoiled kid, you might get a guy from ends or slums, whatever you want to call it. Like, you might get one of them. You put them together, trust me, they're not gonna see eye to eye. And until you explain why they're not gonna see eye to eye, then how the hell are they gonna like? How are you gonna move forward? How are you gonna know? Because they've had life where spoon-fed. This one's had life where probably just lucky to be there, and they're gonna see things differently. So unless people start connecting in terms of that way, then it's just not really gonna help, really.
I like that, man. Hey, I think we've touched on it before, but to that level, I think that was really good. Again, as I said, I appreciate it. So moving on now, talking about the turning point of your basketball career, if you will. What happened? Why was your college career incomplete?
Okay, so basically, I went to Pasadena. I'll be honest, my confidence took a hit. Because at first I said, I went to that place because I was like, I believe I can become a Division I player. Like, I have it in me to become a Division I player. And after that first year, I didn't really think so. But then obviously, context. So going to Pasadena, this coach literally just threw me, coach literally just threw me in to the deep end, basically. Like, got me a trainer, started learning how to actually play like a guard, which I should be playing like, not what these lot have been having me doing. And so the coach, it was Jeremy Major. So he played up at Newcastle, actually.
Oh,
okay. He knows James Banton. James Banton came out to Pasadena, we was hanging.
Okay.
Yeah, so like he knows him. So I was working with Jeremy Major, and I'll tell you right now, my game took a turn. Like, I was actually able to do stuff I was supposed to be doing. Like, my body could move freely. I had another trainer where he was getting all my body right. Like, injuries wasn't a thing for me. Like, my body was strong, it was tough. I'd lost quite a bit of muscle because that was what was actually keeping me from being agile and actually like moving like the guard I was supposed to move like. And then I was getting taught all these subtle movements and stuff like that, where I didn't have to go 100% all the time. You just got to use your head. And all of this stuff, it was the first time I'd actually learned any of this stuff. And so when I started playing, I felt more free.
Okay.
And you could kind of tell it when it started because I got put into like leagues. So they have in California, they got these leagues where either semi-pros, ex-pros or stuff like that would come and play. So you're playing against all older men. Not one of these was under the age of 25. Yeah. Like at one, I seen, was it Robert Horry? He was out there, like in Pasadena, like the first one I went to. Like he was there. Like it's ridiculous. Like I seen Ron Artest out the pro-ams when I went. On the weekends, I got thrown into that. And I just seen dogs, bro. Like I thought I was strong. These guys just threw me like I was a child, which pretty much was. But
you was a child at that point. You know what I mean?
Like,
up against Ron Artest and Robert Horry. Like, Jesus.
Like, that's what he just threw me into that. And so I had to just keep on like learning like on the fly, which I'd never really been put into. And so I was just picking up stuff like as a guard and stuff like that. And so that's when my confidence started to come back up. And then and actually it's so funny because it's more about who you know and who you meet. So in one of these leagues, I played against, I had no idea. I was playing against this team. I hit about, I think it was 8 or 9 threes in the game. And obviously, don't act like that's weird. Don't act like that's weird, D. Don't look at me like that. I'll have you know, because my memory's good.
Oh my God.
I kept us in a quarter or semi-final because I hit like 7 or 8 threes. And I think it was against Barking. And I kept in that game.
No shade, man. No, I don't know.
I seen the face, man. I picked that up. Like it's I could shoot, man. What's wrong with you? No. Have you know? Yeah, I don't like that, man. That was condescending, man. Oh my God, you're enjoying this one. My God.
Yo. Oh man, no. That was no shade. That was no shade. None whatsoever. None.
Like first year in Myerscough again, mate.
That was no shade whatsoever, man. I was like, okay. I was like, when you said you rattled off 8 or 9, you said you was playing at a higher plane, so the fact that you rattled off 8 or 9.
deep.
Okay, I got you. I'm following. I'm with you. I'm not against you.
You're so surprised. Like, you did that. Oh my God, what's that?
Hey, no, we went from playing against Ron Artest and Robert Ory to I hit 8 or 9 threes.
Playing against his children and stuff like that. Yeah, like they're in the games like it's crazy. So
there you go.
But, so I was doing that, and then in a game, in actually one of these during the week, and we were playing, and then obviously me defensively, like defensively that's what keeps me on the court really to start with.
Yeah. And
so obviously that part's solid, and so I was playing like that, blocks, all that stuff, alley-oops, because I had a point guard that I lived with. Me and him always worked out together, so our connection was like that. Me and him were playing these games together because he just came over as well. And then because we lived together and then we spoke a lot, like point guard is so important, man. And because I got along so well with him, it allowed me to do everything else because this guy is actually looking for me. Like he was good. It kind of reminded me of playing with Rico.
Okay.
So this guy would look for me, like try to put me in the best positions. He'd get onto me if I didn't jump high enough. Like these guys, their expectations are completely different, and that kind of helped me too. And so I was catching lobs in this game. I was doing all that stuff, like and then we still lost the game. I was vexed by it, but someone on the other team, this guy, he was friends with the head coach at Oregon State.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and so he literally after the game, he as he was walking out, stopped me, spoke to me, asked me like where I was from. I was like, oh, England, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Told him what I'd done before, and then he was like, oh yeah, I like your building, stuff like that, and I have a friend that I think he'll be very interested in your set. And I said, okay. And so pretty much he invited me to come and watch the game against USC. So I've gone all the way down to South Central to go watch this game now, like front seats, like right behind the bench, like set me up like that, yeah. And I'm watching flipping Kevin Porter Jr. play against these guys, and they won Oregon State won the game. Like I was like, yo, this level's crazy. I'm literally watching the game like, ooh. And then I met the head coach like right after that game, even though other people are waiting to speak, like so many people are waiting to speak to this guy, like it's ridiculous. Because this is his friend, and he played pro as well, like they both played pro. Literally didn't have to wait too long, met the guy, spoke to the guy, and just started getting recruited from that point on. And this guy was vouching for me and stuff like that, and so he just kept with me. And I was like, for the first time I felt like there was actual value in me in terms of how I could play and the level I could get to. And he just kept on speaking throughout. He was keeping up with me and stuff like that in terms of me playing, working out and stuff. And then that actually let me, I wouldn't say like relax, I didn't get complacent, but it let me feel like, okay, you're doing the right thing, like you're going in the right direction compared to where he was at when he was at Casper. And so I just felt a bit more free, and I started to actually like enjoy the sport even more, which I didn't think I could actually do because I had extra motivation. I was like, you're worthwhile, pushing. So that's that. But then, and obviously I was seeing a different side to life as well because of where I was working. And this guy was also teaching me stuff in terms of, can you imagine now I'm at work and I'm looking at these places costing like 5 mil. And so the boss of the insurance company, like he's independent, like he started this by himself, like a family thing. And so he's, like self-made. And he spoke to me like quite a lot, and we talked a lot, and then knowledge was just being passed through. And then I just seen life differently. I was like, you're telling me I spend hours playing basketball, doing this and that, and these guys are just out here slapping. Like, these guys get new cars all the time, D. I'm putting insurance quotes on flipping CLAs and all of that stuff. I'm like, my Lord. And I was just interested in that stuff. I was like, I've been interested in since I was younger, but I never actually looked into it because basketball was the only thing on my mind. But now it was like, my mind was just expanding as time just went on. And with Coach Idris as well, I speak to him. He doesn't just talk to me about basketball. Like at Casper, they just speak they would just speak to you about basketball, and that's it. If you're not talking about basketball, you might have a funny conversation here and there, but anything in terms of seriousness and like what's going on in the real world, you're not hearing much from him. But Coach Idris, there's not one day where he wouldn't talk to me about something that was completely different.
Outside of. And
that just really helped with my development as like a person. and it kind of helped in terms of the decisions I was making. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, and it was like hard at the time because there was the recruitment stuff going on, which was like, compared to me being cute with NAIAs and Jucos, it was now an actual Division 1 school. And so for me, it was like, oh, bro, like, you could still keep going. But then I said, then there's another side that you've been interested in, that you've not just taken a look into, and you did not see how it could go. And at the time I made the decision, I didn't know what was going to happen. I hadn't set up anything in terms of what I wanted to do when I got back to England. I told my mom, she was like, are you sure? I said, I thought about it, and I was like, yeah. But the thing is, what I was going to do next wasn't concrete, but I knew what I wanted to do. But the actual everything, maybe getting a uni place, or none of that had been done. And I said, yeah, I don't want to play no more. And that was that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was the hardest thing about making that decision? Was you afraid of being judged by like your peers, you know, like your friends? And was you know, afraid of what your coaches might think, you know, those guys who've been training you and invested in you from the basketball standpoint? Was you know, afraid of what they might think and say as well?
At Pasadena?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, I knew the head coach wouldn't be happy. That was for a fact. I knew the head coach wouldn't be happy. And to be honest with you, I was a little bit of the B word.
Okay.
I tried to avoid him for a bit because I knew like I respected the guy so much as well, but I knew like what he can get like when I knew what the decision would be like. He would not be happy about it, and I knew it, and I just didn't want to kind of go through that conversation, but I had to. But obviously I let Coach Idris know, because him I can talk to, and he understood. And he was like, it's tough. Like he put a lot into me. And he was the one person I was like, I definitely have to speak to, because if nobody else, him. Because he's put the time, he's put the effort. I'm like, I can't make it seem like I'm unappreciative, but like, I told him exactly what I was thinking and stuff like that. And he understood, and he was like, that's fair enough, because he speaks to my mum as well. So like, he's got a very good communication base with like me and my mum. So it's one of those things. So I was like, I have to speak to him, and he understood it. He like, even my mum wasn't sure when I told her. She goes to speak to this guy, like, is he okay? Like, what's going on? What happened? Did anything happen? It's like, no, like, he's better than when he came here. So like, he reassured her, which made it easier for her to actually accept my decision and stuff, to see that I'm actually growing and stuff like that. But yeah, like, in terms of my teammates, they wouldn't get it. Like I told the point guard, like my point guard, he wasn't happy.
Wouldn't be. He was his Cody, man.
He was taken aback. We was meant to go to like a like one of our little weekend things, and I'm telling him during the week, oh yeah, no, so I'm going, and he's like, I'm going. You know when they start saying, and like, the hell you talking about? Yeah, and I told him my reason and stuff like that. Damn.
So did you leave school, or did you just stop playing ball?
So school we'd done with school at this point. Like, we'd done our lessons, summer training. We had our summer. Like, we was doing our summer workouts, all the cardio, all that stuff. Like, we was doing all of that. So this is when I told him. So there was actually no school to really worry about. I think I was meant to be taking summer classes actually. So I had to decide whether I wanted to take those summer classes or go back because of like flight times. So I was like, my flight was before the summer classes started. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I'm out.
I still worked out. I was still playing with them, still doing that. And then I think maybe the last week is when I told them, and then I didn't work out for that. Maybe I just worked, made like so-and-so grands before I went, and then just left, and that was that.
So, okay, can you talk us about, maybe the night before or the actual act of telling people? Do you know what I mean? So can you, like, gearing yourself up, like, did you have a fake conversation with your mum before you actually called her, or did you, like, how did it actually go down? Like, because I would imagine, to say, hey mum, what we've sacrificed for, or me not being around for the last 2 years, actually I'm making a 180 and now I'm coming home. Like, talk to me about that moment of when you're having to actually have these conversations.
Think about telling her, yeah. that one, I was overthinking a lot, to be fair. Like I don't give people around me enough credit in terms of how they react to stuff. But I was thinking a lot about, I was like, she might say, nah, like, you better stay your ass out there. you know what I mean? Like no way, no way. But it's not the first time that I've actually so obviously when I was younger, she's asked me, do I want to play this sport, do I want to play that sport? And I've changed my mind maybe once or twice. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, she might see this as still being a child. So I was like, I just have to have a solid reasoning. And so then it got to me thinking like, okay, I know my reasoning. It's just, is it believable to other people when I explain it to them? And it was. So I kind of worried a bit more than I should have. And she was like, are you sure? Because this is something that I've seen you, it's put me through a lot of pain.
Yeah.
I've been up and down, in terms of mentally, physically and stuff like that. She's like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, I'm actually at peace with the decision. Even though I was unsure in terms of what's going to happen going forwards. I knew what to do, but just wasn't sure in terms of what's going to happen going forwards. It's just, I was at peace with the decision. I was confident enough in myself and in what I've learned that I can do something with myself, for myself. And so she kind of took that on the first call pretty well, to be fair. And then obviously she goes and tells my auntie, I'm hearing from my auntie. I'm like, yes. Gotta speak to them, gotta convince them and stuff like that. I'm like, yes. And the thing is, my auntie's cool as well. I got a tattoo out there and I didn't let I wasn't telling my mum. But my auntie knew, she didn't tell my mum. At this point, she still didn't tell my mum. So for her to actually call me and be like, are you sure? Because I didn't say it to her. So that's why she was like, okay, because she knows I tell her quite a lot. So that was that one. So she was like, be sure, and we'll be here, blah blah, here for you and everything like that. So all right, it's cool. I'll see you guys soon when the flight lands. And so that was the case, and it went pretty smoothly. To be fair, it went pretty smoothly.
What was it like? What was the preparation for when you were telling your head coach? What was your kind of here we go, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so my thing was just to catch him by himself. Because basically, we've got 3 or 4 assistant coaches. So you got Coach Idris, and then you got 2 other ones. So you got the head assistant coach, and you got the analysts and stuff that we have there. And then you got the kind of the coach that works on all the training and stuff like that. So you got 4 of them. So my thing is, so basically, the assistant coach, they're both old heads, right? So if you catch them both together, you're getting flamed. You're getting flamed, because anytime I have conversations with them, it's funny because they're old heads, but you get flamed. You better come prepared for that conversation. So my thing was let me catch him by himself. By himself, I'll be like, okay, I could deal with him a little bit better. If it's both of them and I say it to them when they're both there, I might actually change my mind. It was one of those. So I called him by himself, and then I just told him okay, what's the situation and stuff like that, and then he wasn't happy. He didn't say nothing for a good maybe 30 seconds. He just looked at me. I said, okay, is this guy is he still here? And then, but yeah, he still he wasn't happy about it. I could tell, but he didn't want to say much about it. He was like, that's fair enough, because the thing is, he was losing the second year players. Yeah, so the second year players, they was obviously gone to get their scholarships to go into D2 and D1. And so his main focus for the next year, the players that he was gonna base stuff around, was gonna be me, the point guard we was with, and then some other guy that we recruited from south, another part of the city. And so now it's okay, his plans have been a little bit railroaded. He wasn't expecting this at all. And so I was like, yeah.
So you just messed up the man's plans, yeah? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That's why I was like, oh, let me not speak to all of them when they're together. Because then it's right, well, because I can't lie to you, they was working on an offense here that was tailored to people like me and the guard. And I was getting so many looks. We used to have plays at Myerscough, right?
Yeah.
We call plays, but sometimes you may look for a particular person, but really, you're trying to make it look like you're looking for that particular person to go get everybody else. Yeah. So everybody else would be free.
Yeah.
This wasn't that. This was actually looking for you to let you do what they know you can do. And then everything else after that is second nature. Like rebounds, all that stuff, or the second, like the looks. They know their looks are there, but they making sure you can get those initial first looks so they can be confident in you. And they were when it came to me, the guard, and some other guy. And so I can't lie to you, like that was actually hard for me to say, okay, no to, because that's the first time that they genuinely like, I've genuinely been looked at as an option for an offense and stuff.
Yeah, primary option, yeah.
And so I was like, all right, ooh. And no, this is what I'm saying, knowing this have made the decision like harder for me. And so, and obviously for him, like he's tailoring it to like 2 or 3 people, and then one of the people is now saying, oh, bye. So it's kind of like, I didn't want to make it seem like a slap in the face. That's the one thing I didn't want to make it seem like. So obviously once I explained it to him, he's seen like, okay, it's not that, but he's still just, he put a lot of time into, you know, doing stuff.
I got you.
So it's one of those.
Do you think, and it doesn't sound like it, but do you think there could have been anything done to keep you playing? Do you think that, you know, if something was a certain way, and I mean, if you're being the primary option in our offense and, you know, things are being tailored around you, I think that's pretty significant to turn down. So do you think there could have been anything that was done to kind of change your mind for you to continue playing ball?
To change who I am as a person. That's about it. But apart from that, no. Because you know me, like, first of all, I'm stubborn. I'll be honest with that. Not the easiest people to get along with. All right. But then there's also the fact that I don't like being, I don't know what it is, I don't like being in the same place for too long. I don't like doing the same thing for too long. And then at a point I was thinking like, it's just the same stuff over and over again. You feel what I'm saying? So not that I wasn't bored, but I was like, yeah, you're challenging yourself in a new way, like mentally and physically, like with basketball, but you've been doing that since how old?
Okay. So you just think overall, you just kind of like, I don't want to say you got tired of it, but it was like same old.
Grew out of it. Just grew out of it. And then when I seen obviously the business side of like the world, I said, this is so like, it's so vast. Like, it's just so vast. Like, there's so much to do. Like, it will be impossible for me to come out number one, but actually not impossible, but it's going to be the same thing. Like, it's just a different level. And so to me, I wanted that challenge. I genuinely wanted that challenge. I wanted something different. So I said, all right, let's get this done. And it's paid off, honestly.
Nice. So, okay. So again, reflecting on your journey, I guess, to the stages and steps that you've been through, do you think that the sacrifices, the hard work, the, you know, playing through injury and all the rest of it, leaving England and all the rest of it, do you think that was what, now that you've stopped playing basketball, do you look back and think, oh man, I wasted my time? Or do you think it was a necessary part of your process?
Necessary part of life.
Okay.
I have some regrets. Like, I might have like 1 or 2 regrets, but in terms of wasting my time, no.
Do you want to?
Basketball has given me a lot, yeah.
Do you want to share any of those regrets?
Obviously, you have the whole like, okay, in terms of like the injury stuff, like, yeah, maybe there's some things I should have not done. So like maybe resting a bit more.
Okay.
I had an issue with sleep. So I didn't actually get I didn't get a lot of sleep. I couldn't sleep for more than 4 or 5 hours consecutively, which is still the same issue I have today. But now I don't have to, my body doesn't need to be at, like, I'll still go gym and stuff, but my body doesn't need to be at a different kind of level compared to what it had to be ready to play a game.
Yeah.
Or to practice or to work out. And like, I'm putting all that stuff on top of each other. So that's one thing, like, in terms of taking care. Well, I'll never regret the food I eat. I'm all right, man. Yeah. But then it's just, I think it was just that first initial decision to go Casper.
Okay.
Like, even though like it was a good learning experience for me, like I've seen people for what they were, but I genuinely, that was a decision I regret in terms of like deciding to go there. Because there was another school that was actually recruiting me that was in California initially. And I got offered, it was a 4 years. But
NAIA school, you said?
Yeah. So I low-key, like, I feel like, sometimes I think about it, like, I probably should have taken that one.
So, and I wanted to ask you this at the start, but I guess, you know, now's a better time. What was your decision? So, I mean, so the whole process of the EuroStepping is to kind of help the Ayo of, you know, 2016, 2017. So now, you know, what was the benefit of you choosing Juco over at NAIA? Or not the benefit, but why did you think, I'm going to go to a junior college rather than go to a 4-year school?
So obviously my competitive nature and me, like, I don't want to keep myself in a box, something I never want to do. Probably why I clashed heads with, Hopkins once in a while. But which is, it's normal. It's normal. But like, I believe in myself quite a lot. So if somebody else doesn't, I don't really care because they're not me. So I don't, like, your opinion doesn't really matter to me.
I hear you.
That was my thing. So like Neil at the time was saying like, he would lean towards me taking the NAIA. And I was like, well, would I be able to go and progress onto D1 if I was to improve? He was like, no. So I said, well, that for me, that was just like, that made me say no immediately. Because even with Juco, I'd still have the opportunity to go move up. Like I'm not stuck there. Like I'm not stuck at this place. Like the whole point of it is to prepare myself to acclimate myself with the level over there, and then improve, and then go on to get a scholarship to a different school. So that's why I was like, okay, I'll decide to go there. That was my main thing. Not because I fell in love with the place or I was like, it's for me, like my progression. Like I'm not worrying about anybody else. I'm not worrying about all that other nonsense like that. Like I gotta think about myself in this situation. And so my thing is like, I've learned, so yeah, like if I went to the school, I would have been secure for 4 years, probably would have come back this year, I would have finished. But then for me, security is not the be all end all, because security keeps you in the same place without any level of elevation. You may have improved, but your position won't. Because like, I would have improved at basketball, maybe if I went to the NAIA school, but then I'm not leaving. I'm not gonna go to a better level. I'm gonna just stay there. And to me, I was like, hell no. That's just not for me. Okay,
but then that was young you, and now the older you thinks, oh, maybe I should have.
I'd still be, I'd still have that like that confidence thing about me, but then in hindsight's a funny thing. So, but yeah, it's one of those. I don't know now, like because for me, I take quite a lot of risks, to be honest, and they've paid off for me. So my thing is like, that's why I won't let security be a thing that guides my decision 100%. It might be like 10, 20. Maybe the older I get, I might be more focused on security than I am on new opportunities and growth and whatnot. But for now, I'm 23 years old. Security is not a thing.
And that's, you know, not being funny, that's how it should be. When you're young, you kind of live life like kind of, I don't want to say wild, but it's like, you know, whatever, how your spirit moves you, and you never know, the world is your oyster kind of thing. You're invincible. You know, everything's very temporary. So yeah, when you're young, that's how you live. And then when you get older, you're like, man, I've been doing XYZ for how many years? I'm only this far, and blah, 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 wife, kids, whatever. You know, now you start thinking in the grand scheme of my life, what's my legacy? Rather than, you know. But yeah, you're 23. You don't have to worry about that. Don't worry. You got a couple years.
Yeah, I'm way more relaxed now than I used to be. Like before, I used to stress myself out over unnecessary stuff. Like now, there's not a lot that could really stress me out, because there's just no point. Like, what am I stressing for? I'd live to see another day. But that's look, you and me and Neil used to clash heads, man. Like, first year, you was there to kind of keep it at a minimum. Because I'd have like an offset, he'd have an offset, I'd have an offset. Like, yeah, cool. You'd be like, hey, what the hell you get? Yeah, literally, you get onto me like, what are you doing, man? Like, you made me see things like, okay, the way he's seen it. But because me and him didn't communicate in terms of that level where it'd be like, this is exactly what I'm thinking, and this is exactly what I'm doing. Whereas like Neil, he'll test you, and he'll try to see how you do things. At the time, I used to fall for it. I was young, but now when I look back on it, like I get it. Like I get it. But we used to clash heads, and basically my thing was like, okay, I believe myself to an extent. He probably doesn't, because obviously he might have seen a lot of players try go the same route, do what it doesn't really work for them. But my thing is, in my head, I don't see myself in that kind of way.
Yeah.
My belief is my belief, and I'm going with it, and that's my main foundation as well. Me becoming the man I want to be. Like I need that. And so yeah, we used to clash heads on that. I remember when he found out I wasn't going back to Casper.
What happened?
And his reaction was more like, oh, like what the hell are you doing? And at the time I'm thinking, you just found out, like, first of all, do you know how much of the stuff I've dealt with through being here? I'm guessing not. And then like, if it's Zion, he'll speak to Zion like, oh, how you doing? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Like, but if it's me, he'll move different. So then that also made me not want to talk to him or even care for what he had to say. And so it kind of built like a little, I wouldn't say like a lot of hatred, but like a serious dislike for a period of time, for like a bit, and then I just let it go. Like I just let it go. Like there's just no point. Like if I was to see him now, I would be happy to speak to him. But if I was to see him back then, I wouldn't care for conversation. Because I remember I went back to Myerscough that summer. Okay. Yeah, and then obviously he was our first encounter was a bit weird. We looked at each other like, I know you're here. Stuff like that. Because the last conversation we had wasn't exactly the best one. Okay. But like obviously he asked me like, what am I doing in terms of like the next school I'm going to, and I told him. He was like, okay, all right, like cool, like yeah. And I was like that is what it is. Man.
Funny. Hey, to be honest, you're not the most easiest person to get hold of. You've been, in a cave, in a silo, hiding away, because I've tried to. I know when you guys were there, and I'm never been the stay in touch with everyone all the time kind of thing, because I'm doing my own kind of trailblazing and trying to get my way through. But I tried to get a hold of you a couple times. Yeah. I know Zion. I know when you popped up on Instagram, I was like, this dude, like, where's been hiding? I'm like, damn.
I didn't want to speak to no one. Like, I'll be honest, I genuinely just wanted to cut off anyone that I knew from basketball. Unless I was like close friends with them or anything, I didn't want anything to do with them. Not a lick. Crazy. I couldn't care less. I didn't want nothing to do with them because I was going in a different path, and then there was some stuff. I feel like I still held some stuff inside of me in terms of like I wouldn't say discontentment, but discontent for some people, or like the England basketball scene on the whole. So, and so I was like, I'm not interested in what these lot are doing. I don't want to know. And to be fair, I was off social media for a long time. I deleted my Instagram when I got out to the States in Pasadena. And it just allowed me to focus on what I wanted to do. I wasn't trying to hold no image. I wasn't thinking about, oh, who's doing this, who's doing that. I'm not looking at nobody's stats. I don't care. I was doing my own thing. And life got better for me. So I literally learned from that. I was like, all right, cool. Let's keep it that way. So I ain't spoken to, I know Troy's tried to get in touch with me. I have nothing against Troy, but that was just kind of like my mindset at the time. So I might respond and then I'll just stop responding. I still had Twitter at the time and stuff like that. So he messaged me on that. Mike Bernard, someone that
big homie, shout out big homie.
Like me and him like talk and everything like that when we was there, but I feel like they might be sick of me because I just didn't speak to them. And to be fair, because of the way me and him got along, he might, I don't know if he did, but he might have taken that personally, because he had said on a couple of occasions to Z, like, oh, how's Ayo doing? Get him to contact me, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. Because Zion will tell me people that are trying to get in touch with me. And I, at the time, I was like, no offense to nobody, but I don't care. I'm trying to do what I want to do, like what I'm trying to do. So these lot are not part of my life at this moment in time. Maybe like later on when I've grown older, I've like kind of seen some stuff like now, like hindsight, yeah, I probably will need to speak to these people and say like, oh, this is what's been going on, blah, blah. But they won't know this until they probably see this episode. But yeah, like I don't like talking to people if I'm being honest with you. Like you've known this from like first year when you've met me. Like I have a I have a very serious issue in terms of like trusting people, so I won't talk to them. So it's one of those, like, I'll keep to myself and I'll do what I need to do, and then I'll do stuff in the background. And to other people, it's like, oh, I thought he was playing here. Oh, wait. Oh, he's modeling now. Oh, he's doing this now. Yeah, like, life goes on. I progress, like, and that's what I'm mainly focused on. I'm not trying to uphold an image for whatever. I'm trying to do things for me. And people are like, okay, well, that's my main focus. I'm not trying to have a pally conversation or whatever, or like, let people get into my business, and I'll say, oh, I was doing this, by the way. Like, I hate that. Like, I genuinely just can't stand that.
You know, it's funny, and you know what, it's always so, I mean, the year you guys came in was kind of, you know, it was great. And I kind of felt like it was weird because I was in a weird place personally as well. But I kind of wanted to stay on because I think like we all had like a great connection and great vibe, and, you know, got on really well. So I kind of was gutted to leave, but at the same time, you know, I, like yourself, I always been like, hey, this is what my dreams and ambitions were. I'm going to keep going forward. But, you know, when we went to Estonia, before this 3-on-3 thing took over the world, you know what I mean? We went to Estonia and we did the 3-on-3. And, you know, when you hit that shot on the finals,
the buzzer beater, yeah.
the buzzer beater, and then you jumped over the barrier, and then I had to catch up. I'm like, oh, goddamn. Like,
kind of heavy.
Yo, I was like, it caught me off guard because I didn't think he was gonna jump, and then like my knee went, and I was like, these are my guys. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was real cool. So, yeah, and for me, not knowing what was going on, and you went MIA, it was kind of like, wow, like what happened? But knowing you as well, it was like, this is just a part of who he is. Do you know what I mean? He's a little bit of, if we're cool, but, you know, right now I'm going to do my thing. And, you know, I was quite glad when you popped up and called you a couple of times, and I'm glad to, you know, finally have you on to speak your truths, if it were, or, you know, your stories. Okay, so we're gonna keep it light for a minute. Gonna some quick fire questions, the trivial stuff. What's the weather like? And bearing in mind, this portion is, again, like you going to Casper and not knowing stuff, going to Pasadena not knowing stuff. So I think you are giving advice to yourself. What's the weather like in Casper and in Pasadena, and are there extremes?
All right, Casper, I've never seen snow like that.
Okay.
Like it goes above your ankles. Like you're trudging along. Like it's crazy. Like it gets seriously cold. But then the summer is very good though. I won't lie to you. But most of the year, you're gonna have to keep on that puffy jacket. Like we got one as part of like our equipment. It was necessary.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. You die. You literally die of pneumonia. Like die. If you don't wear that puffy jacket, you are done for. You are done for. Like the snow. Like think about how high it is as well. Like the altitude and everything. Like you're getting serious, you're getting the wind, you're getting the snow, all of that stuff. Like, and then it'll snow with the wind, and then just you can't avoid it. Like, yeah, like that's serious. But the summer's beautiful, man.
Okay.
And then Pasadena. Yeah, it's just sunny most of the time. Like at night it might get a little bit like chilly during the first part of the year, but the rest of the year, you gotta have the AC. But it's pretty good most of the time, yeah. But then they have hilly areas where it will snow like quite up there. If you go to like the mountains and stuff like that, so they'll have that. So it's quite pick your poison, honestly.
Okay.
Everyone chooses some, but so it's really good, yeah.
Must-see destinations in both places.
In Casper.
Yo, don't do Casper like that, man.
No, it's a nice place, but I don't know if anything's like must-see. Like, so you have to speak to like a local person.
So you never went and you did like, you know, the team never went, oh, yo, let's go and check out this tourist attraction.
The team went to maybe some parties, I don't know. Maybe. And yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And to like stores and stuff like that. But must-see, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Pasadena?
Oh my God. Just all the food places.
Okay.
So I went to so many food places, like it was so vast. Like,
that's the next question. But is there no like I don't know, like a beach or like a place. If I told you,
In Pasadena, no, there are no beaches. But there are beaches. Obviously, you go to like I went to Venice Beach. I had someone take me to Venice Beach and all them kind of places. Drive down, but in Pasadena, nah, there's not from what I know. There's not in there.
So both places you went to are dead. There's nothing interesting to see.
Oh, Pasadena, I was active.
Oh, okay.
I can go out, because there's places to eat at, like, or you go out to somewhere real quick, something like that, or like a party. Yeah, like it's good.
Okay, all right. So the next question is, what's the best place to get food? If I phone you and I'm like, yo, I'm going to Pasadena, but I'm like, I'm going to play a game or whatever, but I got $100 in my pocket. Where am I going to get food?
All right, so here's the thing. So obviously you got the commercial places. So for me, where I lived, Chick-fil-A was around the corner.
Yeah, okay.
And I was there quite a bit. But then we had Wingstop, we had Panda Express, had Taco Bell, Domino's, all that stuff. Like that's the basic stuff. But then you have all those like self-made ones. So like there was a burger joint around like a little bit further from me, and some Asian lady not Asian lady, what am I talking about? The wife was the Asian one, but the guy was, I forgot who he was, but they started like this burger place. So they serve kind of other stuff with it, and for the life of me I can't remember the name, but it was wonderful, man. And it wasn't exactly just burgers though, so you can kind of get like wraps and stuff like that, but it wasn't the same as all the other places. Like they have their generic stuff, they'll put their own little thing into it. So then, like, say the recipe for the burger buns, like the burger buns are different. I didn't even get to the meat, of course, but like the burger buns were like different, and then obviously they had different like recipes for all their stuff and that options, which was crazy. So that place, I like that place quite a lot.
Do you have a name for that place?
This is, I'm trying to think. I've not been there for like a year and a bit. Like I'll forget about these things, but
okay.
But that, how do I say it? No.
Okay, so a random burger joint. Okay, cool. Casper.
Oh, I used to like Wendy's at Casper. Surprisingly, yeah.
So the most generic places.
Yeah, no, I can't lie to you. I'm not a high palate guy like that, fam. Like, first of all, I don't believe in eating healthy like that. It doesn't make a difference to my life. I mean, it may be because of genes, but it's not made a difference in my life. I've enjoyed what I've enjoyed.
Yo, your genes are crazy. I'd kill for them genes, boy. Out at Wendy's, McDonald's, and got like an 8-pack just bulging. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, like I'm all right. Like I enjoy myself, so I'm trying to eat as unhealthy as possible for as long as possible.
Hey, I tell you what, I guarantee you're gonna get to like your 30s, and that's it. Like your body's just gonna go, nope.
Nah, do you know what it is? I'm keeping an eye out. Like I still work out on that now, and I always try to see what the threshold is in terms of like how long I can go without working out and see how I feel and stuff like that. Like yeah. But I still keep like with it. Yeah. I'm
not secretly over here hating you while you're telling me this. Not at all. No, not at all. Best place to get new kicks.
You have a lot of reselling places.
Okay.
So yeah, I remember we had like a little reselling store like in Pasadena, in the city, like a little bit deeper in the city, and it was really good, and it was good price. You get good prices for them as well. I always sold them my shoes because it was like that good. Like yeah.
Okay. Is there a name for that?
Shoes, I'm not big on buying shoes though.
Is there a name for the resale place?
I can't lie to you, my memory like that. No.
Man, you just over here just trying to give advice and just I
can't lie to you. I'm not trying to tell people to go to these places. You're asking me questions. I'm just answering them. I don't really care if anyone goes to these places or not. It's not really my problem. I am not a tour guide. Not really interested. I'm sure they'll figure it out somehow. So yeah,
I love it.
Like, if they find a burger joint, they can let you know. I'm like, yeah, I think I found it. I'm like, well, good for you.
This is great.
I ain't gonna give you the address. Oh, look at things like that.
What's the best American holiday?
But it has a place to go.
No, best American holiday. So when you was over here, did you was Thanksgiving better than Christmas, better than St. Patrick's Day, better
They
than
love the 4th of July.
Okay.
They love the 4th of July.
And
Thanksgiving they go out, but 4th of July they go crazy. Yeah. 4th of July. Yeah. That's their day. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, cool. Last one. Did you get homesick, and how did you deal with that?
You know how conceited you gotta be to have your own like American holiday. Oh, call me, man. Out here trying to compete with Christmas. You can cut that. Yeah. All right, cool.
We got that.
Anyway, homesick? No.
Okay.
Nah. Because you gotta remember, like, I've been away from home since I was like 16, 17.
Okay.
So maybe the homesickness was when I first left when I was younger, but for this one, nah, it's just like another day to me, to be honest.
Even though
the time difference kind of got on my nerves.
Yeah.
But apart from that, nah, I was okay.
Getting on to the final couple questions. I appreciate. I'm enjoying this. This is definitely fun as hell. But yeah, last bit. What was your level of independence coming into college? And what would you advise someone going to college? What do you think they should know how to do?
My level of independence was pretty high. Obviously, single parent household, only child. My mom has a serious case of OCD, so I learned to do a lot of stuff properly. And I think she's passed the OCD on to me. But so yeah, like my level of independence is pretty, like it was solid when I went over. And so in terms of what they should prepare for to get out there,
what should they know how to do? What should a freshman know how to do going to college?
Depends on where you go. So like for me, like we had everything covered from food to all that other stuff. So if you want to do stuff outside of like school and stuff, then probably budgeting would be your best thing. That'll be like an important thing, like budgeting, kind of knowing what you really want to do in terms of stuff like that. But other stuff, I'd say set apart time to learn something different. That's yeah. Because there's a lot going on, man. Like just being a one-trick pony is kind of it might work for some people with the right opportunities, but it's kind of played out. You give yourself more. It's the same thing. Like if you're a player that can do multiple things, you're more likely to be on a court. And if you're a person that knows multiple things or can do multiple things, then you're more likely to find an avenue in life that will work for you.
I like that.
Yeah. Teach yourself something different. Like just learn something. If it's an hour out your day, you be all right.
I think that how times are going now, how times are moving. You've got just like your players actually. As a coach, I'm recruiting players who, it's not just a 3-point shooter. It's a 3-and-D guy. It's a 3-and-D guy that can, orchestrate an offense. It's a big guy that can maybe play on the perimeter. So yeah, like most things in life, the more things you can adapt to or know how to handle, I suppose, that's the big thing now.
Yeah, life is selfish. People want more of you as you go further along. That's just really what it is. Like job roles now is like they want you to do more than what you're actually specified to do. And it's the same with basketball. Like before, the big man would be able to just like, post up, do his thing, Now they're getting greedy. They said, oh, you gotta start handling the ball now. You gotta start doing this stuff because he's doing it. We want it. So that's how it is.
Very true, man. Very true.
Yeah.
And you can tell you're getting older because in the workplace, you might be a bus driver, but they go like, hey, I need you to clean the depot. We need you to start, doing dispatch. We need you, whenever you get a job, man, they want the world from you. Which is crazy.
Bare minimum.
What's the biggest adjustment to American culture?
Probably just how they talk.
Okay.
Like, obviously, it's kind of the same thing. Like, say Manchester, London, they have different terms, lingo, and all that stuff. Well, there it's like different terms, lingo, and then I don't know about the culture thing really. They're just all different. I think for me, it's more so they're not as reserved as British people.
Okay.
Like, British people are very reserved, like kind of boring.
Okay.
It's just being honest. Like, yeah, like in terms of basketball, I don't know. Like, I think we're getting better in terms of that, because now you got guys that actually starting to play a little bit like guys in the States now, in terms of how they handle the ball, how they dribble, how they handle their social media, how they do all of that kind of stuff. They're starting to be more expressive now.
Okay.
Whereas with them, like, that's their natural saying. That's just how they go. Like, they're more expressive, they're more open. Like, for example, like talking to a girl in the States, if you see a girl you like on the street, in England, on my life, I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't even try. I'll just keep it walking. I'm like, oh yeah, she's nice. Keep it going. In America, you can probably like stop and actually talk to them, and there actually probably will be a conversation. Whereas here, people are just, I don't know, there's that kind of attitude kind of thing. It's a bit weird. I noticed that one. I noticed that one a lot. It's not a big thing, but like it's something I noticed. It's kind of like we're reserved, they're more outwardly expressing, stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. Which brings me on to second to last question, which is, how did you deal with distractions in the stateside? So how did you deal with drugs, alcohol, and the opposite sex being a distraction from what you wanted to achieve?
Well, I mean, I drink, but I'm not a big drinker, not really. Yeah, you kind of learn as you go where your threshold is for that stuff, and not to let it affect you. But yeah, no, like I feel it depends on you as a person, honestly. Because drugs, no, yeah, I'm alright. I'm not really interested. And then opposite sex, that's always going to be a thing. That's always going to be a thing. So it's more so like, don't get too caught up into spending your time with them. They'll always be there. Because if you spend more time with them, then you're not getting better at what you're supposed to be doing, and then they'll go. Like, they're just gonna go. They ain't forever people. Like, it is what it is. The next one's always gonna come. So that's kind of how that was my thought process. So I focused on what I needed to. Didn't really pay attention to them. I might have been rude at some points in time, but didn't really care. I was doing what I needed to do. They didn't like it, they can go somewhere else. There's other guys there.
Okay.
That's just the attitude you gotta take to it, to be honest, because like, if you're an aspire, like if you want to be a player really, like, girls will always come. Like, there's no shortage. So focus on your thing, do your thing, and they'll still be there. If one doesn't like it, well then another one will. So It's just pretty that much simple. Like, it just depends on the person. Like, it could be a person that's not used to being around a lot of girls or getting a lot of girls or have girls being interested the way that they are now. And then he'll be like, oh, this is new for me. Let me try this out, taste it out. And then they start falling into a bit too much because they've not been through that before, or they now start losing track. But then you've got another person that's a cool head. Like, I'll give you an example. Could be like a player I had now at Casper. It's called Damien. He's used to like having girls, so then he won't be distracted by them, because he will work out a lot, but he'll still have, okay, there'll be a girl there, so he'd be fine. Like, but then there's another people that be like, oh, this is new, I'm just gonna divulge in this, and you hardly see them because they want to spend time with a girl or something like that. Like, I'll be honest, I might have blown like a training session or so off, not training session, like a personal workout off. So like, all right, I'll spend time with a girl, but then I'm like, it's not really worth it, because then now I've not gotten better, but I got stress on my neck.
Okay, and that's pretty mature to understand that. Hey, there's two types of people that, you know, maybe someone that's accustomed to dealing with the interest, and, you know, those who aren't. Also, the other side of the coin is, you know, understanding that there's a time and a place And, you know, if someone doesn't align with what you're trying to do, then, hey, I guess it's not meant to be. So what about the peer pressure side of things? How did you deal with that? You know, if you was out, and I don't know, but let's say you were out, I know you wouldn't be underage drinking. You wasn't underage drinking, obviously. But, you know, if you was out and your friends are saying, hey, take this, drink that, you know, how did you deal with it?
They can't bag me for underage drinking now, can they?
No.
Okay, all right, cool. Well, let me tell you. Alright. Well, yeah, with the drinking stuff, like sometimes the guys will go, oh yeah, let's challenge, see how much you can handle, blah blah, or you go shot for shot, stuff like that. But it wasn't anything too crazy where guys would challenge you to just do something ridiculous, because we're kind of all in the same boat in terms of like, we have stuff to do. Like, we'll have fun at the time, but we'll never let that fun at the time like mess up everything else. So, you know, you get them little games, you might have to go shot for shot, do stuff like that, but nothing crazy like that. Trust, like, it was okay. So that, as far as peer pressure goes, that's that. But I feel like that's in the spirit of everyone just having fun, trying to see, oh, you can handle more, or he's on the floor already. Oof, let's get him on video. Weak ass, like stuff like that. So that's literally what it was. It was just like fun. It was no like, oh yeah, if that's peer pressure, then that's fantastic, because that's the best peer pressure I've ever experienced in my life. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
It didn't even feel like it was peer pressure. It was just you having fun with people that you enjoyed your time with. Like, that was really what it was. So apart from that, no one really tries to get you to do stuff that would just put you in jeopardy like that. So it was never really you feel the need to say no. But then if you do know yourself, like, okay, maybe last time that we went shot for shot, I ended up on the floor, or I might have ended up a little bit, you know, in a undesirable situation, then next time you're like, all right, maybe not. And then if that person's trying to put it on you to like, oh yeah, stop being a little, to keep it going, then maybe that's when peer pressure comes in. It's like, all right, no. Or you might fall into it again, and then there you go, in an undesirable position. Like they hit you where last time. But yeah, so it's one of those, like, once you say no, people kind of accept it, to be fair, because when people say no, not a lot of people say no. You find it. I didn't even know that. I realized like quite a lot of people say yes to stuff just because to get over with things. And if you say no, like one time you say no, people just leave you like, oh, fair enough. Like, yeah.
Okay, and did you find that at both places? Did you find that both at Casper and Pasadena? Yeah, like if I just said no, it's no. Like, it's pretty simple. But I probably had way more fun in terms of going out and stuff in Casper than I did in Pasadena. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was because first of all, it was like my first year, and then fresh out of a relationship, so I could actually enjoy myself, went out with the guys and that. So yeah.
I would not believe Wyoming was a better situation to be out than California.
Do you know what it is? So like it's cause I think it's the people that I was with. So like, for example, if we would go out to like a party or something like that, like a house party or whatever, because obviously we was on a basketball team, so people would always like come at us with like stuff to go to. And the thing is, all of us would roll out. It's not like, oh, a clique of one, these three will go for now, and then these four go to the stuff. We would all go. Like everyone, like we make sure we'd have enough cars to fit everyone in. You might have some people squeezing in the back and shit and stuff like that. And we'd all just roll out. And that's what was so fun, because that's how we kind of like bonded as well. Because like all of us would literally go. And it was just like, it was just too funny. Like it was just actually funny. And then compared to like Pasadena, it was just like me and the point guard I was, yeah. And me and him would go to like a couple things, and then we met another person, and then he would take, because he worked security, and so he'd let us into like a couple places because they have security for like clubs and stuff like that. So clubbing out there is a bit at the time it wasn't really interesting to me, and then I think I was not of age anyway to get in, so I just didn't bother. So that was that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And
okay.
Maybe shooting. You don't want to be in the wrong house.
what advice would you give to new recruits looking to attend college in America?
I'd say you gotta vet the area and the coaches kind of to the best of your ability, basically. You gotta know what you like in people. So in terms of what you've experienced with people before and what you kind of like with them and how you can kind of go forward with that. So for example, say if I was coached by Neil, I was coached by Pete. So I know what I like in coaches. Like I like both of them. Like I like some parts of Neil more than I like some parts of Pete. And then I like some parts of Pete more than I like some parts. So you have that kind of to work on and you can make a decision in terms of your next coach there, because it's very important that you do get along with your coach. And then the area is always a big thing as well. So just gotta see if it's a fit for you. But then it's also like, how much are you willing to adjust and adapt? Like how good are you at doing that? And that's really the main thing. And then just stick to the main thing. Like if you want to do something, do it and stick to it. Because like it takes out a majority of your day. Like you're gonna be tired, and you gotta get over being tired. That's just how it's gonna be. So that'll probably be my main thing. And then obviously take care of your bodies, because not everyone's, not everyone's all blessed genetically.
Man, yeah.
You gotta take care of yourself, man. Always gotta take care.
Hey, that was fantastic. That was, I was really looking forward to having this talk, but I think this far exceeded my expectations. So I absolutely loved it. I appreciate having you on. I am so glad to hear that you have matured and finally found something that you're really interested in and passionate about, and to know that you've gone out there and represented yourself and your family, your mum, the way you have. It's been an honor to be a part of your journey, sir. And definitely my line is always open for when you want to talk or not talk or kind of talk.
I ain't gonna go missing for years at this point in time now. I kind of set myself up the way I want to be, so I'll be a little bit more, conversating.
Approachable, but yeah, thank you for jumping on the show, and much appreciated.
That's no problem. Hi, my name's Ayo. Thanks for tuning in to EuroStepping for this episode, and hopefully you keep up with the rest of them as well.
Appreciate you watching the EuroStepping.
I want to thank everybody for watching EuroStepping.
Watching the EuroStepping.
The EuroStepping.
The EuroStepping.
You've been watching the EuroStepping.
The EuroStepping.
EuroStepping.
You've been watching the EuroStepping, a great podcast show hosted by Coach D.